What if one small change in your daily coffee routine could help you control your blood sugar naturally? Before you take your next sip, there is something important you need to hear that could genuinely change your health. I am not talking about any miracle formula, and I am not selling anything. I am talking about coffee, the drink sitting in your kitchen right now, and one detail that changes absolutely everything: the way and the timing in which you drink that cup. Hi, I am Dr. Richard Ben, a physician, and over recent years I have closely followed hundreds of patients with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, especially people over 60. And what I am going to share with you today is something that has truly changed many of their lives. We are facing a silent crisis. According to health data, diabetes cases have increased by over 135% in less than 2 decades. Today, tens of millions of people are living with this disease. And the numbers show that prevalence reaches an astonishing 30% among seniors over 65. That is 1 in every 3, far more than most people realize. And what concerns me most in my daily practice is not only those who already carry the diagnosis, but the enormous group of people sitting right on the edge, with elevated glucose levels, with that unexplained fatigue after lunch, with that persistent thirst that never quite goes away, who have not yet been diagnosed, or who have been diagnosed but do not know what to do beyond taking their medication and waiting. Stay with me until the end of this video because I am going to show you how a small adjustment that costs nothing can make an enormous difference in how your body manages glucose. But first, I need to tell you something that most people simply do not know about coffee. Imagine your pancreas as a small factory that produces insulin, the hormone responsible for opening the doors of your cells so that glucose can enter and be converted into energy. When you eat, glucose flows into your bloodstream. The factory kicks into action, produces insulin, and the glucose gets absorbed by your cells. Everything works as it should. The problem begins when this factory becomes overloaded. When you consume foods that spike your blood sugar rapidly, the pancreas is forced to work at its absolute limit. Over time, your cells become less and less sensitive to insulin. The pancreas has to produce more and more just to achieve the same result. And that is when insulin resistance sets in, the gateway to type 2 diabetes. Now, what does coffee have to do with any of this? Coffee is a remarkable drink from a biochemical standpoint. It contains hundreds of bioactive compounds, but 2 of them stand out clearly in the science: chlorogenic acid and trigonylene. Think of them as traffic controllers working inside your intestines. When you drink coffee before eating, these compounds slow down the absorption of sugar from food, making it far more controlled. Instead of a sudden surge of glucose flooding your bloodstream all at once, you get a smooth, steady flow that your pancreas can manage without being pushed to its limits. A study published in Diabetes Care, conducted by researchers from the Harvard School of Public Health, analyzed data from more than 1 million people and arrived at a conclusion that genuinely impressed me when I first read it. Regular coffee consumption is associated with a significant reduction in the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And this is not a small effect. The risk decreases in a dose-dependent way. The more cups per day, within a reasonable limit, the lower the risk of developing the disease. Then, in 2018, researchers from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, one of the most respected medical institutions in the world, reviewed 30 different studies covering nearly 1.2 million participants and confirmed that coffee consumption, both regular and decaffeinated, is associated with approximately a 30% reduction in the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But here's the point that almost nobody talks about. These benefits depend entirely on how you drink your coffee. Because the wrong coffee at the wrong time, consumed in the wrong way, can actually work against you. And that is exactly what I see happening in my practice far too often. Let me tell you about Mr. Arnaldo, 72 years old, retired, a man of deeply ingrained habits. He had been drinking coffee since the age of 17 and was proud of it. But when he came to my office, his fasting glucose was 138 and his HbA1c, which reflects the average blood sugar over the previous 3 months, was 7.1%, above the desired level. He told me, "Doctor, I do everything right. I drink coffee every day. I walk 3 times a week. So I asked him to walk me through his coffee routine in full detail, and that is when I found the problem. Every single morning, the moment he woke up, before eating anything, he would drink a large cup of strong black coffee. Then he would have another one at 3 p.m. alongside a sweet biscuit, and sometimes a third cup before bed because he believed it helped him unwind. 3 classic mistakes that I am going to explain to you right now. Mistake number 1, drinking coffee on an empty stomach immediately after waking up. This is the most common mistake and the one that causes the most harm. When you wake up after a full night of fasting, your body already has elevated cortisol levels, the stress hormone, the same one your adrenal glands release when you are in an urgent situation. Cortisol already signals your liver to release glucose into the bloodstream, so you have the energy to begin your day. It is a perfectly normal survival mechanism. The problem is that caffeine amplifies this effect. It further stimulates the adrenal glands, triggers the release of more adrenaline, and the liver responds by dumping even more glucose into your blood. And you have not eaten a single thing yet. The result? Without taking one bite of food, your glucose has already risen by somewhere between 20 and 40 milligrams per deciliter. I have seen lab results confirming this repeatedly in patients who use continuous glucose monitors. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition confirmed this effect. Drinking black coffee on an empty stomach after a night of sleep can significantly raise blood glucose levels in the morning. Mistake number 2, coffee with sugar, artificial sweetener, or cream. It may seem harmless, but it is not. A single spoonful of sugar in your coffee causes an immediate glucose spike and cancels out the benefits of the chlorogenic acid you just consumed. It is like starting a fire and pouring gasoline on it at the exact same time. And as for artificial sweeteners, many people think they are the perfect solution, but recent research, including a study published in the journal Nutrition in 2021, suggests that artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose can alter the gut microbiota, the community of bacteria living in your intestines that plays a vital role in glucose metabolism, in ways that can harm long-term blood sugar control. And there is an important piece of data released in January 2025, published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by the Harvard School of Public Health, analyzing 3 large American cohorts. Coffee consumed without any additives was associated with a 10% reduction in diabetes risk for each additional cup per day. However, when coffee was consumed with sugar, this protective effect dropped significantly. The practical translation is straightforward. Remove sugar from your coffee. It sounds simple, but it is genuinely powerful. Mistake number 3, drinking coffee in the late afternoon or at night. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours in the body. This means that if you drink coffee at 3 p.m., half of that caffeine is still circulating through your system at 8 p.m. It keeps cortisol levels elevated, disrupts deep sleep, and it is during quality sleep that the body regulates a significant portion of glucose metabolism. Poor sleep equals poorly controlled glucose. It becomes a vicious cycle. When I explained all of this to Mr. Arnaldo and we restructured his coffee routine together, his fasting glucose dropped from 138 to 112 in 8 weeks. His HbA1c went from 7.1% to 6.6%. Without changing his medication, without a radical overhaul of his diet, without joining a gym, just by adjusting how he drank his coffee. Now I'm going to tell you exactly how you should drink coffee to make the most of the benefits science has already proven. But first, I need to ask you something. If this content is helping you, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. I have much more content like this that can genuinely transform your health in the videos coming up. And tell me in the comments where you are watching from. I love knowing which part of the world my content is reaching. Back to our topic, the right coffee at the right time. First golden moment, breakfast, but not the very first thing in the morning. When you wake up, start by drinking a glass of water. Wait between 30 and 60 minutes. Eat something that contains protein. Scrambled eggs, a slice of cheese, plain unsweetened yogurt. any solid protein source. Only then drink your coffee, and drink it plain, without sugar or sweetener. Why protein first? Because protein buffers the impact of caffeine on cortisol. It provides amino acids that the liver uses far more efficiently, and this prevents the cortisol spike that unnecessarily releases glucose into your bloodstream. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology showed that consuming protein before carbohydrates and caffeine reduces the post-meal glucose spike. And if you want to enhance the effect even further, add half a teaspoon of cinnamon powder directly to your coffee. Cinnamon contains compounds that partially mimic the action of insulin, helping cells absorb glucose more effectively. A review published in the journal Nutrients showed that regular cinnamon consumption may contribute to a modest but meaningful reduction in fasting glucose levels. It is not medicine, but it is a genuine ally. Second golden moment: coffee before lunch. This is a strategy that very few people know about. About 20 to 30 minutes before your main meal, drink a small cup of plain black coffee without sugar. The chlorogenic acid in the coffee will act exactly like that traffic controller I described earlier, slowing down the absorption of sugar from the foods you are about to eat. This reduces the post-meal glucose spike, which is one of the primary triggers for the development of type 2 diabetes. A study conducted by researchers at Brigham and Women's Hospital, affiliated with Harvard Medical School and published in Diabetes Care, showed that coffee compounds, especially chlorogenic acid and trigonylene, significantly reduce glucose and insulin concentrations in the first 15 minutes after consuming carbohydrates, compared to a placebo. This effect is real, measurable, and you can take advantage of it without spending a single extra dollar. Third golden moment: after physical exercise. Do you walk or engage in any physical activity? Then pay close attention. Within 30 minutes of finishing your walk or any form of exercise, drink a cup of plain coffee. When your muscles have been active or have just finished working, they become far more receptive to glucose. They act like a sponge, pulling sugar out of your blood to use as fuel. Caffeine at this particular moment enhances this effect, helping your muscles absorb glucose even more efficiently. It is a metabolic window of opportunity that most people completely miss. As for the total amount of coffee per day, most medical guidelines consider consuming up to 4 or 5 small cups per day, within a healthy pattern, to be safe for most adults. The Karolinska Institute review of 30 studies I mentioned found that this amount falls squarely within the range associated with protective benefits against diabetes. But every person is different. If you notice palpitations, anxiety, tremors, or difficulty sleeping after coffee, your caffeine metabolism may simply be slower, which is genetically determined. In that case, reduce your intake to 2 cups per day, or choose a quality decaffeinated option, which still contains chlorogenic acid and retains many of the benefits. Here is a story I need to share with you. Danelli, 68 years old, a retired teacher, came to my clinic with type 2 diabetes, diagnosed 3 years earlier, and was using metformin with blood sugar that remained difficult to control. She was the kind of patient who followed instructions carefully. She took her medication, she cut back on rice, but her HbA1c stubbornly stayed above 7.5%. When I reviewed her daily routine in detail, I discovered that she was drinking sweetened coffee with milk in the morning, coffee with sweet biscuits in the afternoon, and had essentially stopped moving because her legs felt heavy throughout the day. Together, we built a simple plan. At breakfast, she would wait 45 minutes after waking up, eat a boiled egg, and then have plain coffee with a touch of cinnamon. Before lunch, a small cup of coffee 20 minutes before eating. 3 times a week, a 25-minute walk in the afternoon, followed immediately by a cup of coffee. We eliminated the sweetened afternoon coffee and the biscuits entirely. 6 weeks later, she walked back into the clinic with a smile I will never forget. Her HbA1c had dropped from 7.5% to 6.8%. Her fasting glucose was 109. She told me, "Doctor, I woke up with energy for the first time in years." I did not change her medication. I changed her relationship with coffee. But now I need to warn you about something important that may be quietly working against you. Coffee has invisible enemies that destroy every benefit I have just described. Let me walk you through the main ones. Enemy number 1, sugar of any kind. Refined, brown, demerara, honey, anything sweet added to coffee creates an immediate glucose spike that cancels the protective effect of chlorogenic acid. The 2025 Harvard research made this unmistakably clear. Coffee consumed with sugar provides significantly reduced protection against diabetes. Enemy number 2, artificial sweeteners. As I mentioned earlier, there is growing evidence that aspartame and sucralose disrupt the balance of the gut microbiota, which is essential for healthy glucose metabolism. If you feel you need to add some sweetness, try natural stevia, which so far has not shown the same negative effects in available research. Enemy number 3, industrialized instant coffee, the kind that comes pre-packaged in sachets. These products frequently contain hidden sugars, hydrogenated fats, and additives that compromise their nutritional quality significantly. Prioritize natural ground coffee, 100% Arabica, freshly brewed whenever possible. Enemy number 4, coffee paired with ultra-processed foods. White bread, cream-filled cookies, industrial pastries. When you combine coffee with these foods, the glucose spike triggered by the refined carbohydrates is so dramatic that no amount of chlorogenic acid can compensate for it. And finally, I want to share with you what I call the protection triad, because coffee works even better when it exists within a broader context of healthy habits. First element, smart coffee. The way I have taught you today, at the right time, without sugar, maximizing every benefit that chlorogenic acid can provide. Second element, movement. You do not need a gym membership. 30 minutes of moderate-paced walking, 3 to 5 times a week, is enough to dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. Active muscles act like powerful drains, pulling glucose directly out of the bloodstream independently of insulin. This has been confirmed by so many studies that it would be impossible to list them all here. Third element, adequate protein at every meal. Protein is the macronutrient that has the least impact on blood glucose, promotes lasting satiety, and protects muscle mass, which is the body's largest consumer of glucose. After the age of 60, protein needs actually increase because the body becomes less efficient at utilizing it. Eggs, chicken, fish, legumes, cheese, and plain yogurt include a source of protein in each main meal. When these 3 elements work together, the effects multiply. Coffee improves insulin sensitivity. Exercise increases glucose uptake by the muscles. And protein stabilizes the post-meal glucose spike. It is a powerful, practical combination that does not cost much and requires no special products whatsoever. But I need to be honest with you about one important thing. Everything I have described here represents complementary lifestyle strategies grounded in solid scientific evidence. They can make a meaningful difference, but they do not replace medical evaluation and professional follow-up. If you already have diagnosed diabetes and are currently taking medication, never change your dosage or stop taking it on your own. Ideally, take this information to your doctor, discuss it together, and make any adjustments under proper medical guidance. Now let me ask you something. Do you have a family member, a parent, a sibling, or a close friend who struggles with high blood sugar or has already been diagnosed with diabetes? Share this video with that person right now. You may be handing them information that could change something meaningful in their life. Accurate, science-based information is one of the greatest gifts we can offer to the people we love. I want to leave you with a thought I have carried with me throughout my years in medicine. Your body is not your enemy. Your body is constantly working to balance itself, to heal, and to adapt. When glucose rises, when fatigue lingers, when your legs feel heavy, those are signals. They are your body asking for help. And often, what it is truly asking for is not a new prescription. Sometimes it is a small change, like the time you choose to drink your cup of coffee. Health does not live in the pharmacy. It lives in your daily habits. In my next video, I will show you the 5 foods that people with prediabetes need to eliminate from their diet as soon as possible. Because these foods silently drive glucose levels upward, and most people have absolutely no idea. Make sure to turn on notifications so you do not miss it. I am Dr. Richard Ben, and it has been a genuine pleasure being here with you today. Take good care of yourself and take good care of the people you love. Your health is shaped by the small choices you make every single day, so make them count. Start with one simple change today, and your future self will thank you. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.